Hello there, Jefferson Multimedia. Time for part 2 of our holiday film festival. We're going to write our first body paragraph today, and I want to talk about cohesive paragraphs. If you're going to write a cohesive paragraph, you have to plan it first. A lot of us just start writing before we even know what we're going to write. Wrong! Don't be doing that. You got to plan your paragraphs first. So, here's what I'm going to do with mine. My first paragraph, I want to talk about the personal fears that Kevin overcomes in his life before we even get to the robbers. So, what is the stuff in Kevin's life that makes him nervous? Because we see him solve like a ton of problems in the movies. First of all, he's afraid of the furnace.
Shut up!
So he's afraid of the furnace. That's one of his childish fears. He learns to be responsible for himself by going shopping and running from the cops. Remember when he grabs that toothbrush and he runs into the old man who he thinks is the South Bend shovel slayer? So he runs out of the drugstore with the toothbrush still in his hands, and they think he's stealing the toothbrush. No, he's just scared of this creepy old man and did it by mistake. So that's what happens there. He learns to go shopping, and he learns how to deal with this old man. He even teaches the old guy, why don't you talk to your son? Why don't you fix your problems? So we see Kevin not only learning how to face his fears, but he's helping other people do it too. Such a good little Samaritan. So I want to prove these 4 things in 8 sentences, which means I only need 2 sentences to deal with each one. Are you ready to see my paragraph? Here we go! Before Kevin fights off the burglars, he learns how to be independent, both at home and in his community. So notice, for my first sentence, I'm not giving examples yet. I'm telling you what I'm going to talk about. That's called signposting. That's when you tell him, hey, here's what's coming up. He's always been afraid of his furnace, but while doing his laundry, he realizes it's not a monster. It's just a clanky old machine that makes way too much noise. So with the furnace thing, I only use 1 sentence. He makes a step toward independence and goes grocery shopping for himself, even though all he really cares about is mac and cheese. Which is true, and at least he's got his priorities in the right place. But that's only 1 sentence, right? Here's the big part. Here's the talk about the old man. Like any other kid, ghost stories scare him to death. And he believes the biggest one in his neighborhood, that the old man shoveling the sidewalks is the South Bend shovel slayer. His brother tells him that the victims are put in the old man's trash can, where the salt turns the bodies into mummies. After talking to him, Kevin realizes that the boogeyman on his block is just a concerned grandfather keeping the sidewalk safe for the neighborhood kids to play. So this is my biggest chunk. This is where I talk about the old man being creepy, and then he finds out, no, it's just you being a weird kid, which is normal. And then my last sentence, it's normal to grow out of your kid fears as you mature, and Kevin does that in several ways in Home Alone. So this paragraph, I kind of bookend it. Like in the beginning, I tell you, we're going to show you how he learns to be independent. And then at the end, I tell you, he learns how to get rid of those fears you have as a kid. And then in between those 2 sentences, what do? I only give examples of what I told you I'm going to talk about. Say what you're going to say maybe in the beginning, and then give examples that deal only with that. So as you finish each sentence, answer these questions in the next sentence. And then what happens? Or you could ask, so what? And you could tell your reader why it's important that they know what you just told them. Or you could ask them, how does this example end? What is proven to be true? If you answer these 3 questions, your paragraph is going to be cohesive. So what does a non-cohesive paragraph look like? It's just a list of stuff that has nothing in common, and a lot of us write this way. All we hear is, I have to have an 8-sentence paragraph, so we come up with 8 sentences that have nothing to do with each other. You know how you take a test and you know the teacher was just looking for like the smallest little detail from the reading so they can nail you for not knowing it? A lot of us write that way. We just look for picky little details that don't mean anything and we chuck it in our writing. So here's a non-cohesive paragraph. Kevin McAllister is a kid who lives in a rich neighborhood. He has a brother named Buzz. His mom has to come back from France and winds up in a U-Haul with a bunch of polka bums. His favorite pizza is plain cheese. He fights off burglars and becomes brave. Kevin has blonde hair. He's a cute kid, but he's really annoying. I liked Home Alone. Notice how none of these things have anything to do with each other. The only time that I talk about what I say I'm going to talk about in my paper is one sentence. None of the rest is about being brave. It's just a bunch of stuff. He's rich. Well, who cares? It doesn't tell me how he's brave. His brother's name does not tell me how he's brave. His mom coming back from France in a U-Haul, what does that have to do with him being brave? You're talking about his mom now. His favorite pizza is plain cheese. That's true.
A lovely cheese pizza just for me.
But it doesn't tell you about him growing or becoming brave or strong or any of that there stuff. Kevin has blonde hair. Now we're describing him. He's a cute kid, but he's really annoying. That's true. And then I liked Home Alone. You've gone from talking to Kevin to talking about yourself. So, non-cohesive paragraphs are just a list of stuff with nothing in common. But cohesive paragraphs talk about one thing and one thing only. So pick your first body paragraph. What do you want your topic to be? What are you going to say about your character? Are you going to deal with a certain conflict? How did Hermie teach Rudolph that being a misfit is okay? How did meeting Buddy the Elf change the sad, sorry heart of Walter Hobbs? Start with a wide topic and then give nothing but examples of how that topic is true. What happened to prove it? How did the storyline show you that this change was happening? If you can do that, you will have a cohesive paragraph. So next time I see you, your first body paragraph needs to be done. Pick one topic, write on nothing but that topic, and we'll be good. That's all I got. See you later. Ho, ho, ho. Bye-bye. And...
keep the change, you filthy animal.